In 9th grade was where I was at a friend's house, drunk. It was December. He was having a party. His parents were out of town. And I remember sitting out by the pool with my childhood best friend. And I remember just going into a drunken depression and saying, I'm just done with this. I can't do this anymore. So I stood up and walked into the freezing pool.
Let's be honest about recovery.
The rewards, the challenges.
Let's talk about our failures.
We are flawed people, after all.
Let's challenge the stigmas that weigh us down.
Because while most of us are looked at,
few of us are seen.
Let's talk about addiction.
And how Christ overcomes our weaknesses.
Because we are loved.
Because we are loved.
Because we are loved.
We are loved.
We are
because
loved.
we are loved.
My name is Elias, and I was raised in a loving family and came from a good home, yet I spent the vast majority of my life trapped in depression, self-hatred, and hopelessness. In October of 2024, it all came crashing down, and it was at rock bottom that I finally surrendered everything to Jesus. Today, I live my life to serve Him and not the world, and I share my story in hopes of it reaching someone else that is imprisoned just like I was.
Welcome back, everybody, to Jesus Loves Addicts. We're glad you're here. We're excited to embark on another episode. And I wanted to start this off with a slogan that you'll often hear in the recovery community. They talk about self-will run riot. So hold that thought for a second. So when we think about addiction, addiction is ultimately sin. Sin is labeled as such by God because it's harmful to us. God did not randomly call things sin. He knows something about it that we don't, and that is the potential for harm for us. Addiction, then, is ultimately elevating our own sinful approach to life above God's direction for our life. And that, then, is our own self-will run riot. We're running riot all over God's direction for us, whether that's alcohol, gambling, cocaine, having affairs, serial sexual encounters, shopping, or as we're going to look at again today, almost as a part two, the sin of and addiction of homosexuality. Today feels like a bit of a part two because last week we spoke to Hal Selby, who was actually a part of our guest life today in terms of being able to speak truth and life into our guest today, which is Elias Kihyet. And Elias, thank you so much for being here. You guys may recognize who is sitting to his right. That is our co-host, our very own co-host, and Elias' sister, Catherine Kihyet. And so we're really grateful that you guys are both here. And so, as we always do, Elias, there's a beginning to this story, right? And take us there.
I was raised in an amazing family, loving parents, awesome siblings. We grew up on the same street as aunts and cousins. Our cousins were more like siblings. We were raised in church, Sunday school every Sunday, church every Sunday. From an early age, I didn't know what it was, but I just felt different from everyone else. I had a strong need to feel accepted and just to know that I was normal, yet I didn't understand where those feelings came from.
I'm going to pause you already, if you don't mind, because that's a pretty descript already of what it meant to feel maybe not normal. About what age are we talking about here?
Early elementary, probably first and second grade.
So,
and how many siblings, and which one are you like in the...
I'm the youngest of four. I have three older sisters.
Got it.
Yeah. He's the baby boy.
Got it.
Aha. Mm-hmm. Does that contribute to scrambling for attention then?
Well, my dad always wanted a boy, so that's really why they're here, because he was waiting on me.
That's not true.
Fair enough.
That was good.
But no, our parents were picture perfect parents. My dad gave love, probably too much love.
Definitely too much.
And then our mother had no trouble with the tough love. But I remember growing up and always telling her, looking back, there was never a time I felt she was too lenient or too strict. She was exactly what she needed to be in every situation.
And is that a gracious and forgiving remembrance, or do you really feel that? Because I mean, it's
in those moments sometimes might not have felt that way, but I always knew it came from a place of love.
Yeah.
He was not well behaved, but he was the baby.
Yeah.
And so she used a fly swatter.
I'm familiar with that technique.
Yeah. Better than the wooden spoon.
Yeah,
one could
no,
argue,
it was
but,
never a wooden spoon. And for the girls, she, come here, let me braid your hair.
Okay. So there was a real, I mean, I know we're being kind of tongue in cheek, but there was a real difference in how you were treated by her when it comes to discipline.
Oh, no.
No.
I think there was just a very significant difference in who was the disciplinarian and who was absolutely not.
Yes.
Even if she wasn't going to, if that wouldn't have been her role, she would have done that because he was not. My dad was not a disciplinarian at all.
At all.
Any no really meant we'll see, and we all knew we'll see meant yes.
And mothers will see or maybe meant no.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay. All right. So those two forces were present, just not in the stereotypical way. Right?
Correct.
You could argue. Yeah.
Correct.
Her yes was yes, her no was no.
Yeah. All right. So at this point, you're in early elementary school. You're getting a sense that I might not be fitting into the norm, but you haven't identified what that is.
Correct.
Okay. So,
and it was early elementary, and thinking back, and when I've made friends, and what I refer to as my pre-Jesus days, I would explain that before puberty and all that, I knew something was up because I realized that I didn't have friends that I didn't have some sort of attraction to. I sought out friends that I later discovered I found attractive. I didn't want...
But you didn't know how to even understand that, right?
Right. I just knew there were certain people I wanted to be friends with and others I didn't care to be friends with. And as the years went by and I grew and developed, I realized, I'm attracted to these people.
So let me ask you, and I don't know that you'll be able to answer this. I'm genuinely curious, right? This is not the norm of addictions that we look into. When you say that, my immediate thought is that is not entirely different from heterosexual relationships. There's all kinds of studies that a pretty teacher gets treated better than a less pretty teacher. Friends tend to migrate towards, their perception of attractive, right?
Yep.
That's in the eye of the beholder. But even our heterosexual friends would probably fall into that category.
Yeah.
So that alone isn't necessarily. So is there an added component here that we're...
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because I think it's normal for kids to feel different than. So,
Okay.
I mean, I felt different then when I was young. I don't know.
I was always my own biggest critic. I was riddled with anxiety from an early age. I was diagnosed with ADHD and started on medication in second grade.
He was on heavy duty. They put him on.
I started on Ritalin in second grade, and I remember my grades went up. The notes from the teachers said, yes, it's working, he's behaving. And I do remember telling my mom, yeah, I behave, and I don't talk as much because I don't feel good. It makes my stomach hurt.
Same.
So, yeah, I did behave
Changed
more.
your personality.
I
Oh, yeah.
I didn't feel like doing anything. That's why I was behaving.
Yeah.
But, and similar how it was mentioned about, noticing things and attractions in a homosexual lifestyle in comparison to a heterosexual lifestyle, and in the spiritual understanding of sin. And, you know, I did used to be one of those that would correct someone quickly if they ever said sexual preference or anything like that, because preference means choice, and I knew I never chose it. And I used to say I was born that way, but no one's born with attractions like that. So through my journey and time thus far as being a Christian, I do look back and but understand it as I was born into sin. My sin manifested in homosexuality. That's just,
but not
that's
a preference.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Well
I didn't
said.
choose it,
No.
but that's how it developed in me.
Yeah. Okay. But still not aware that that's where your life is taking you at this point.
Right.
So, go ahead.
Well, I have a question, and I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of your story, but I seem to remember from Catherine's story. When did your parents get divorced?
When I was 13, so he would have been
was 5,
6 or
or
7.
6.
I'm 6 years
Okay.
older than him.
So was that a traumatic experience for you, or?
So I do remember where we were, and we were, the three of me, Catherine, and our sister Lauren were in the kitchen in the house we grew up in. And I remember our parents standing in front of us and telling us, but they were using a bunch of words, and I really lost track of it. For all I knew, they were telling us about a vacation or something. So I'm smiling, and my sisters are crying, and I don't remember, it was either Lauren or Catherine was like, "You're supposed to be crying right now."
Don't you understand what's happening?
So, because sister said to cry, I started crying too, but I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And then mom called me into the bedroom after the group conversation to further explain it. So we grew up in a divorced home, but I would have never called us a broken family. Dad built a house 2 streets over so that we could walk back and forth.
We had all holidays, birthdays together.
There was a photograph, and I've actually told people in the program that there was a photograph from, years and years and years ago, obviously, on Christmas Day at our oldest sister Amy's house. There's a picture in the living room of my mom's first, second, and third husband sitting together watching football.
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of family we are. Once you're family, and family time is family time. If you have a problem with that, get over it, because mom's there.
Yeah.
And family gets along.
So at this point in your story, is dad already out of the house?
Yes.
Okay, so he is. And so you stay with mom?
So me and the custody was drawn up, I believe, 1 week at mom's and 1 week at dad's.
It was completely equal.
Yes.
And because we were so close, it was
Okay.
to be 1 week on, 1 week with the other.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, I'm coming from a place of ignorance, and I know you've done a lot of research on this in your own journey, right? Which I'm really looking forward to hearing the fullness of. But do you attribute, a large part of your life, half of it after dad leaves, is spent in a female-dominated home, where that's your exposure is girl locker room talk, I would imagine, right? That's how girls talk, and that's a large. Do you attribute any of what is to come here to maybe that influence? I don't know. Is that?
That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Environmental. How much is it? Yeah.
There were many times that I would put on their clothes and, dress up like a girl.
There were times that we dressed him up because he was little,
Right,
and it
he
was
was like
fun.
a play toy, right?
He was, and he had. You can't tell now, but he had ringlet hair all over his. He Saved by the Bell screech. That was his head. Like it was ringlets. None of us had that. Well, Amy, our older sister has curls, but yeah, he was great.
So he was a live action doll for you, live for your older sister.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I don't. I don't believe that contributed to it.
Okay.
Because those feelings and stuff were there already. And I could be wrong. It might have. But I feel like they were already there.
Yeah. Okay.
By the ages that started happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I want to say, from a family standpoint, you think like anyone that was around us knew how close we were.
Yeah.
Like for years, I've had people say, I always wanted what you have with your siblings. None of us had any idea that he was struggling in any of those areas at all.
Yeah. Was
Just
it
like
a
they didn't know.
shameful secret for you at that point?
I don't know why.
Or you hadn't really
I never told
identified
any.
it.
I mean, I'd never told. Anytime I was picked on at school, anytime I was called slurs or pushed around, I never told anyone. As far as they knew, I was never bullied, and I was.
When you say you were called slurs, are you already being accused of that lifestyle in school? So you are. So you're already being identified that way. Okay.
I remember just not even but a year ago or 2 years, I don't know, whenever you made your post about being bullied and how that affected you, my mother called me and said, who bullied him? Did we miss it? And I said, I just found out. I said, we didn't know, Mom. We would have told you. We didn't know. And she felt like she missed something. He didn't tell us.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do, right? Again, in families, maybe even loving families, we see what we want to see. So unless it's explicitly
And
brought
I feel
to
like
the
me
table.
not telling them stemmed from that initial feeling that I was not normal.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling me these words, treating me this way. I'm doing something wrong.
Something's wrong with me.
So I can't tell anyone because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I would not show vulnerability in that sense.
Yeah.
And it's not like I questioned whether or not, I mean, I knew my sisters. I knew that if I was to have told them, there would be a fight. But I was ashamed.
There would be a fight, as in your sisters would go to battle for you.
Yeah, in a heartbeat.
Okay.
We fought a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that.
We did. We don't now, but we did.
Yeah. Well, you know, as interesting as this is, we could probably do a whole podcast on the potential origins of any sin, right?
Yeah.
This is just another one.
Yeah.
So I think you wrapped it up best in just saying, look, we're as and Ross did before the show, you know, we're born into sin. It just manifests itself differently in different ways. The origins of it are certainly an interesting discussion, but let's continue on, because you have not yet even pinned the tail on the donkey yet. So, okay.
Due to the way I felt, it made me very susceptible to try anything to feel like I was more than I was. And I worshiped the ground my sisters walked, especially Catherine. We were the closest of the siblings growing up. I started smoking cigarettes at age 7. I had caught my babies. Well, sort of. I caught my babysitter letting them smoke. And so that I wouldn't tell on them, they let me smoke, which, knowing me and my sisters, I wouldn't have told on them anyway.
Right.
But I got to smoke. So my first cigarette was at the age of 7.
That's pretty young.
In front of Sing River Hospital out by the pond, I remember. And by the age of 10, I would have my own pack of cigarettes. So started in 2nd grade, smoking cigarettes. By age 12, I was drinking. My dad had a stocked liquor cabinet. So I would drink.
With his knowledge?
No.
But it was stocked liquor cabinet is minimized. We had a bar room.
Yeah.
So it was
abundantly available.
Yes.
Okay.
My dad co-owned a liquor store. So our house rapidly had become the party house.
Yes.
For adults?
No, for kids.
For kids.
It was for kids.
Place
Yes. And the little guy He didn't like us. I forget his name, but that's probably good. He worked for the people, like the liquor license people, to get them in trouble. He would park down the road from our house when I was in high school to try to bust us. Like he wanted to get my dad. So,
And our house was the party house.
Yeah.
So with me being so much younger than Catherine, she would have parties.
Oh.
I'd be there, and I would be drinking. I became more comfortable with drinking and hanging out at home during their parties than hanging out with my own friends. And that carried on over into getting me in trouble at school. I don't remember how or exactly what enlightened my mother to my drinking. But I do know that she took me to a doctor who diagnosed me at the age of 14 with alcoholism and prescribed me a
Antabuse.
very strong medicine called Antabuse.
Yeah, he was on
rough
Antabuse
experience.
before 15.
Yeah. And for anybody, just a side note, for anybody who doesn't know, that's a chemical that will make you violently ill if you
Yes.
drink while you're on it.
Which I
Or
doubted.
use any sort of products with alcohol.
At all. He did doubt it. He was going to have to prove it.
And I did, and it works very well. So that helped my drinking.
It's a good deterrent.
Yes. And during these years, my sister has already gone on her road of addiction. And I remember telling her, just don't lie to me. Let me know what you're doing so that I'm not worried and I won't tell on you.
Yeah.
And I swore I would never do what she was doing because I saw what it did to her. I saw what it did to us. But I was so desperate for an escape. The cigarettes helped me for a while.
They took the
The
alcohol
drinking,
away.
they took the alcohol away. And I remember the first night I walked in on her and one of her friends that she had met in her first rehab, smoking crack. And I remember asking, what does it even do? How does it make you feel?
And how old are you?
15.
He was 50. Yeah.
And I remember her telling me, it makes you feel like you're going to fall over. I'm like, that's dumb. Let me try it.
That's great. That's dumb. Let me try it.
I remember they sat me in a little wicker chair in the closet, and I tried it for the first time. And I was like, I don't really feel anything. Smart person, but like, nope, that's not for me. I need to try it again. I need to feel it. So then I started smoking crack at 15.
Just as a side note, this is the issue, and boy, we could probably have a bigger discussion about how this applies to our sinful nature as well. But this is the issue with Antabuse is a great deterrent for somebody who wants to stop drinking.
Yes.
If you don't want to stop drinking, you're just going to stop using alcohol.
Correct.
But as you
You're
just
gonna
did,
find
you're going to
something
find
else.
something else because it's like having a headache and taking aspirin. But if my headache's caused by the pinched nerve, I got to address the pinched
Yes.
nerve. And we haven't done that here. You're
Correct.
still,
But she was just doing what a doctor,
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's
told
what
her
they
to
knew,
do,
right?
yeah.
Yes, and also in ninth grade was where I was at a friend's house, drunk. It was December. He was having a party. His parents were out of town, and I was drunk. And I remember sitting out by the pool with my childhood best friend. And I remember just going into a drunken depression and saying, I'm just done with this. I can't do this anymore. So I stood up and walked into the freezing pool.
Was this a kind
After
of a
you-
suicide ideation kind of thing? Or?
I think it was really just a cry for attention because it was a shallow end of a pool.
Oh, yeah.
But
And-
you yelled out, I'm gay.
No, that wasn't yet.
Oh.
So I walked into the pool with the hair that she previously described.
Yeah.
His sister pulled me out of the pool. They brought me into the downstairs restroom and put me in the tub with the warm water. 3 of my best friends came in. I told them, I was like, I have to tell y'all something. I'm gay. And they're like, yeah, we know. And I'm like, no, I've never told y'all this before. They're like, yeah, but we've known.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, well, shoot, that was a cold pull for nothing. I thought I was coming out of the closet to those 3 people.
Yeah.
There were 2 people outside of the bathroom that we would not consider each other friends. So within about 10 minutes, I get a phone call from my sister, Lauren, who is a senior, prom queen, valedictorian, queen prep of the school, asking me, what have you just done? I'm like, well, I told my friends I'm gay. She's like,
was this news to you all, Catherine? Was this, or had you?
No.
So you guys.
It was, at this point, it was not news to us. I think it really apparently shocked him that it wasn't a secret. But there's no way it was going to be a secret. I mean, he was not super masculine.
So it wasn't not news to you because he had told you. You guys had just divined this as well. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All his best friends were girls.
Yeah.
And us.
Yeah.
And he didn't actually go hang out with, he didn't.
Okay.
I had several girlfriends in school, but normally
friends who were girls or like dating girlfriends?
I mean, you know, will you go out with me? Circle yes or no. I circled yes.
Okay, yeah. Right.
So I had some relationships, but a few of them, once when we broke up, they're like, you're just mean. You never talk to me. And I'm like, how am I mean? I never talk to you. Like, I don't ever say anything. So
perception is everything.
That was another thing that let me know I don't want to hang out with him. I don't want to hold hands and stuff.
But I do remember that night, Lauren wasn't the only, I mean, it's also a small town. But I guess she called him first. But in the meantime, I was there at the time, because I do remember that night. And somebody also called, it might have been Lauren, I don't know. Somebody called my mom and woke her up. And I just remember he was, I don't know what happened from the time you hung up with her to when somebody brought you home.
They brought me home from the house I was at, drenched, soaking wet, and I just knew I didn't want to be in trouble for being drunk. So as soon as she opened the door, she was like, what's going on? I was like, I told my friends I'm gay. So that took the focus off of me drinking.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we sat on the couch, and I don't know if I mentioned, we were raised Catholic. So up until that point, I had no knowledge of what was actually in the Bible outside of the readings during Mass. I just knew what I had heard and what I'd been told. So I told her, I was like, you know, I told my friends I'm gay because I don't like girls. I like boys. But I'm told it's a sin, and I don't want to go to hell. So she asked if I wanted to go see our priest. And I was like, yeah, sure. So a couple days later we went, and I met with Father Mike and told him the whole story of what happened. And he basically told me not to worry about it, just to live my life, and I would be okay. So I did.
So I know we're getting there. So I know we're getting there, but can you just interject a foreshadowing thing? So how do you hear that advice now?
Hear
what the priest said to you. How do you hear that advice now?
It makes me angry.
Yeah. Righteously so.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is not
when you hold so many other things,
then it's fine.
He took the easy way out.
And
right?
Yeah, and living my life didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
It led me to living in Pensacola and eventually becoming a drag queen.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you
that was
embrace
horrible
the
advice.
lifestyle, right? Yeah, sure. And from an authority figure that we would expect, the expectation is that this person's going to tell me this is wrong. There's almost, even if you didn't overtly want it, covertly, you at least want to hear that side
At least
of
tell me
things.
something
And he didn't even
from
give you
the
that
Bible
side
of what I'm mentioning.
Right. Yep. Amen.
Right.
Tell me
Right.
something.
We brought you here because you are a figure
You are a
in the
spiritual
church.
leader.
So, right.
And he put the stamp of approval on it. Yeah.
Yes.
Sadly. Yeah.
And I may be wording this wrong. I wonder if a part of that is like, I want him to say something that's going to help me feel normal if my whole life I have felt like I don't fit anywhere. And he didn't do that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know until just now that he went to the priest. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't tell people a lot of things when
No, I'm glad that part's in there.
I didn't used to tell people things that made me feel weird
Yeah.
or non-normal.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I put to the back burner in my head and I deal with on my own, such as the being bullied and all of that. That's for me to deal with.
Yeah, which speaks to addiction in general, right? We in our delusion, we think that our self-will run riot is pounding our chest. I'm going to live life my way, but it is really bondage, and you're speaking to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go where I can go today because I was in bondage to this thing, but now you can go there because you're experiencing the freedom that it's only offered in truth.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Jesus. So all right. So that's a leapfrog there. All right. So you get the stamp of approval from sadly somebody who it shouldn't have come from. And,
yes. And for the next 2-3 years of high school, I'm drinking, I'm using hard drugs. I don't know, like looking back, how would you not notice a 15 and 16, 17-year-old in your classes smoking crack cocaine? Like, I don't know how I made it through school.
Yeah.
I don't either.
Let me ask you, did crack affect you the same way as others? Because you said you took Ritalin because ADHD.
he is
sometimes
very much
it will not affect you that way.
ADHD.
Right? That could have almost been self-medicating your ADHD.
It might have been.
Yeah.
I do know that I didn't
In a
act
horribly
like other
dysfunctional
people.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that worked as like a twofold thing. I didn't act like other people on it, but that also enabled me to do more of it.
Sure, yeah. For you, it's terrible, yeah.
And my senior year, I was arrested. I'd snuck off campus like I did many times to get some. In fact, the last time I did it, I had borrowed a girl's vehicle because my parents took mine, and I sold her radio out of it.
He brought it back to the high school with no radio.
I returned the vehicle.
I wouldn't have brought the car back.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like he put himself in some, crazy, risky positions.
I smoked crack as a young person.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
Heard you. It's.
Without getting into, we don't need to go down the path, but are you also now acting out on your sexual lifestyle?
Yes.
You are, okay.
Yes, and it was mostly done through online.
Okay.
With adults?
Some, yes.
So there's a covert nature to your acting out on it, but you are, okay.
Yes. One of my first encounters, I was probably 14 or 15, and they were probably in their 40s.
Yeah.
Anything to do with sexual activity stemmed from drug use. That's when I felt comfortable enough to do things. That's how I explored things. That's how I learned about my sexuality, was through the using of drugs.
It's already a tainted lens, right?
Correct. And the word self-worth is just non-existent. It was just my escape.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize a major podcast sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by America's Thrift Stores, your go-to option for decluttering and giving back. If you have a closet bursting at the seams or a garage that's seen better days, we've got the perfect solution for you.
That's right. America's Thrift Stores makes it easy to clear out the clutter and make a positive impact in your community. Whether you're cleaning out your wardrobe, downsizing your living space, or just looking to give back, America's Thrift Stores has you covered.
And here's the best part. You've got options. Schedule a hassle-free home pickup, drop off your items at one of their convenient donation sites, or swing by an America's Thrift Store to donate in person. No matter which way you choose, you're making a difference.
Absolutely. Every donation you make to America's Thrift Stores directly benefits charities in your area, such as the Home of Grace and other fantastic organizations dedicated to helping those in need.
For example, donations made to America's Thrift Stores in southern Mississippi help the Home of Grace provide support and assistance to individuals facing drug and alcohol addiction. Your contributions make a real impact on their mission to provide freedom from addiction through Christ-centered recovery. So not only are you decluttering your life, but you're also helping build a stronger and more supportive community.
It's truly a double blessing. So what are you waiting for? Clean out that closet, clear out that garage, and make a positive difference in your community by donating to America's Thrift Stores.
Visit America's Thrift Stores online to schedule a home pickup, locate a donation site near you, or get directions to one of their store locations.
America's Thrift Stores, where giving back never goes out of style.
And I was arrested my senior year for using crack in the principal's private bathroom. I was a guidance office assistant, so I had access to that restroom, and I was arrested, sent to my first treatment center, which was supposed to be 30 days. I learned in 8th grade I could write poetry really well. So I wrote a very elaborate poem about cocaine and the negative effects of it. And for some reason, the doctor over this facility read my poem, and after 7 days,
he was cured.
He said that.
Oh man!
He said that. Switch
well done.
That switch hit for me, and he could tell.
Yeah.
So I was cut my 30 days short to 7, and I came back home, graduated from the alternative school
with honors.
With honors. First ever graduate with honors from the alternative school.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And tried to set my dad up with his teacher.
I set my dad up with my teacher, who busted me using drugs in her bathroom at her house. But by the grace of God, I graduated high school.
So the drugs and the sexuality were
hand in hand,
fueling each other, right?
So,
I mean, okay.
I do have to ask, cocaine and cocaine-related drugs like crack, they're not cheap. How are you, if you don't mind me asking, where was this money coming from?
I learned some techniques from my sister, but my dad being an attorney, anytime a client was coming towards the end of the day, I knew 9 out of 10 times he was going to get what they call a retainer fee, which 90% of the time would be cash. So on his way home, we or I, depending on when it was, would go into his bathroom and lift one of the blinds enough to look through it, so that when he got home, I would be outside looking in to see where he hid it. Because unfortunately, he knew he had to hide his money.
Yep.
Did that ever? Oh, so it came up. I was going to say. I mean,
he hid it all over the time, and sometimes we helped him look for it. I mean, that's just the truth of it.
Seems like he would have got a safe.
He did have one, but before they knew to look out for me, she would ask him for money for whatever, and I would be behind him looking at the code to then relay it.
Wow. You guys were sophisticated.
A conspiracy.
I mean, it was terrible. We had a list of, when he got a 3-digit safe, we had a list of potential numbers it could be, like P.O. Box 180 was his office. Our address 725. Well, clearly those 018 would be his birthday. And then he went to 4-digit because that wasn't working, and so we did the same.
Yeah.
Same to get into the car. He had the code to get into the car, so we had. Anytime he was going to change it, we would be prepared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. He lived in, he loved
us too much.
That's it.
So
he
there
lived
was never
in
fear behind this.
Because he would rather live that way miserable than to risk that he wasn't willing, that hard part of tough love. He just couldn't.
It's so funny because I don't know what kind of an attorney he was, but that seems to go against the attorney kind of personality.
Criminal,
so
mainly like wrongful death, personal injury.
Yeah. Okay.
Divorce, child support.
Yeah. Just interesting.
Yeah. And he was
really good.
Top of the line. He was one of the best.
Yeah.
But we
Not
were blind
when it came
spots.
to us.
We were complete blind spots for him.
But I do have to mention, I think I said this during Catherine's. And I know y'all both seem to paint a very as good as possible situation that the divorce was, but still, that's not how it's meant to be. Like if he's not strong at disciplinarian, usually the other half hopefully is, but that half wasn't there. So I still see this is partly.
Well, no,
the divorce made all of this worse.
Yes. And for me, the divorce actually was my trauma. It was.
Yeah.
Because she switched from mom's roof completely and went to dad full time.
I didn't stay when they did.
Because you could manipulate the situation?
Yeah, and I used the law to hurt my mother. I didn't see it that way, but I said, nope, in the state of Mississippi, because I grew up going to his office, in the state of Mississippi, once a child is 12, they can decide where they want to live. And it devastated her, but she didn't, if this is what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
And because I didn't have rules there.
Yeah. Yeah, for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we're still in high school?
Yes.
No, he graduated.
No, I graduated high school.
I was skin of his teeth.
Thankfully, yes, with honors.
That's right. Okay.
I always thought he paid somebody for that. I did.
Well, he set dad up with the teacher, so he had an in.
I feel like
it did help.
Somebody got paid.
When all of my friends, when I graduated, my mother made me move out of state, and I moved to Spanish Fort, Alabama with our oldest sister, Amy, and my brother-in-law. And I was only there for less than 2 months.
Quick side question.
Yes.
All right, so we just talked about how the priest gave really horrible advice. Did you ever get any kind of well-intentioned, love-informed pushback from mom, dad, sisters, or was everybody kind of rallying behind, well, this is just who he is, and we're going to...
No, I didn't.
Okay, so everybody was kind of saying, you be you.
They made it a mission to let me know, we love you just the way you are.
Yeah.
But I also did not ask them... I didn't open that door for them to tell me it's wrong or anything like that.
Okay. So it probably just wasn't talked about very much.
At all. We had a family close to us that their son had come out and their decision, and it wasn't a spiritual religious stance. It was
harsh.
More or less public opinion. What will people think? And he was treated
horribly,
pretty awfully.
And his life today is a reflection of it.
And that's what we didn't want to see.
Yeah.
He was alone. He was broken, and he was
shunned by his family. Yeah.
He was so kind, and he is still so broken.
You know, there's such a sad piece here, though. So I often describe things kind of on a pendulum. And human nature is to tend to try to compensate for one extreme of the pendulum by going to the other extreme of the pendulum, right? So
we did the other.
Yeah, so you guys were well-intentioned, but the reality is that the cure for either extreme is still kind of finding your way to truth.
It's still
but
having a conversation. No, you're right.
You know.
And until we've mentioned the pendulum, but not in this. And right when you said it, I was like, that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We were like, we are absolutely not going to do that.
Right.
Well-intentioned.
Right.
But no transparent conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, what do you do? I mean,
What do you, yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, and then I was also in and out of the house, in and out of treatment, in and out of jail. And our sister, Amy, was older. Amy was 13 when I was born. And so she's definitely my go-to.
Yeah.
And she'll tell me like I need to hear it. But she lived in Mobile. Our sister Lauren, Lauren's only 2 years older than you, and Lauren was at Ole Miss. So,
No, she's 42. I'm 38.
She's 4 years.
But the thing I would say is, like, when you ask, what do you do? I would say that's true of any sin. It would be what you do with, and now we do the Great Commission, right? You present the truth.
Sure.
We can't drag them make them drink, but we can certainly present the truth. But understandably, sometimes
it's easier to be passive about it. I guess that was I was kind of being sarcastic.
I got you.
Yeah.
It is, and I think
Status
it's also
quo. Don't rock the boat,
baby.
We love you.
It is. It is easier, and for that I know that I owe amends for that. But it's easier because it's the same with tough love. That fear is, what if I say something that sets him off? And he has, for the majority of his life, we all knew, battled anxiety and depression. And the real truth is, we don't want to say it, but I was always terrified that he'd kill himself.
Yeah.
So whatever we got to do.
I didn't help that fear. I do remember numerous times making those type of threats. I remember one.
Were they manipulative for you, or were you really feeling that way?
I was definitely. I wanted to die.
Okay.
But I would not take my own life.
Yeah.
If the opportunity presented itself during those years for someone to do it for me, I would have taken it.
Okay.
Wow.
And I think we knew that. Yeah. I knew that. So no, I'm gonna take the.
But the focus was probably more on him using hard drugs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I know there's going to be pushback out there from what I'm about to say, but I will say that that's really interesting, because here we see the truth of what's behind sin, not because it was placed there by anybody, but because it is, right? Yeah. It's what it is. So here you are, your lifestyle's been approved by the priest. It's being presumably approved by family, by friends, and yet you are this darkness about you that I want to die, right?
He was miserable.
Yeah, because that lifestyle, sin, I shouldn't just say that, the lifestyle of sin, my sin, right? If I embellish myself in it, comes with a heaviness, because the
it wasn't
source
anyone
of it.
else's approval. I thought it would be their approval that would make me feel better,
free, but
it wasn't. Yeah. I didn't know what it was at that time. I needed to know that it was okay from God.
Yeah, amen.
And
I grew up in church, and I was not going to get that. I sought. Well, that'll come later.
Did you ever walk away from him? Did you ever just say, "Well"?
I wouldn't say I ever really knew him. I just knew.
Good point.
I believed there was a God.
Okay.
And I knew I didn't want to go to hell, but I felt broken. And I remember I've made the statement numerous times that God just sneezed when he got to my sexuality. He just made a mistake on that.
So would it be fair?
I was just going to say, were you saying that because you knew that's what Christianity said, or did you just have this innate feeling that you knew it was wrong?
Both.
Interesting.
Well, and would it be fair to say that your God was not necessarily a Christian God? You were introduced to it through the Christian means, but you just said, I knew there was a God, but I don't know that I ever really knew him. So would it be fair to say that God at this point is a vague understanding on your part, that something is out there?
On my part, yes, but... And that's on me.
Sure, oh, sure, yeah.
And when I graduated... When I moved to Alabama, I was good for about a month. And then I had a bad day, went into work, and happened to be working with this one gentleman who was from Pritchard, Alabama. And I remember just flat out asking him, I was like, I'm having a bad day. Do you know where to get crack? And I think I might have said, do you know where to get hard? Because that was what you called it then. And his response was, yeah, my sister lives next to the dope man. So by that afternoon, I got more. And it didn't take long for me to get fired from that job.
Yeah.
Woke up at my sister's by my brother-in-law with a cup saying, your mom wants me to give you this.
To pee
in a cup. So about an hour later, I packed all my stuff and moved back home to Mississippi. I made it maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And
white knuckling it.
Yeah. And 17 years old, I was at my dad's law office, and his secretary at that time had her own long-standing history, her and her sister, of being in and out of addiction. And she just looked at me one day and she said, you need to get help. And for some reason in that moment, hearing it from her, I was like, you're right, I need help.
Yeah.
So I called my mom and I was like, hey, I need help. She's like, call this number. And I called it, and a gentleman named Jeff answered the phone at Mercy House Ministries in Hurley. I remember I got there July 5th, 2005. And I remember within the first few days, I met a staff member, and I told him that, you know, my main problem is I think I'm gay, but I think it's a sin, but I've been given mixed signals and misinformation, and I've never read the Bible. His response to me was, and he said, he gave the advice he thought was best, having no experience or knowledge into that type of spiritual battle. And he said, fast and pray and thank God for the wife he has for you. Simple enough formula.
I can do that.
Right.
Interesting.
So for the next, I was in Teen Challenge for 15 months.
After this one?
Oh, Mercy House is
Mercy House leads into Teen Challenge.
Oh,
Mercy
It's
House,
like the first 30 days.
okay.
it was referred to as a crisis center back then.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was only 2 of them in the entire country, one in Hurley, Mississippi, and one in Neosho, Missouri.
Okay.
So I was there for 28 days. They transported me from there to my home center or basic induction phase for 4 months in Cleveland, Ohio. It was there that I got my knowledge of God in the biblical sense. It was a very, very strict, structured program. It was structured under the Assemblies of God. So I was exposed, raised Catholic, and then exposed to church service of tongues and all the gifts of the Spirit, all of that. And was finally learning the scriptures. Part of our contracts to get to each phase in the program was memory verses. In my first 5 months in the program, I memorized over 600 verses of the Bible. Had to quote all of Romans 6, all of Romans 8 at once.
Wow.
It was great. I learned who God was in a sense, but I was going about it the wrong way because I didn't know any different yet.
When you say you
What do
didn't
you mean
know
by
any,
that?
yeah.
Like at that time, there was not many people experienced, and at least that I had found, nor in the circle of staff
You mean
members like that had experience with
treating
people.
your issues.
Yes,
Yeah, gotcha.
correct.
Yeah. Like he had religion. He had an understanding that he had not ever had.
I gained religion
Yeah.
and knowledge of God, but no relationship.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah.
And like his letters, the phone calls sounded amazing. He's making friendships. When he went, when he went to Teen Challenge, then that's when I was in prison. And so this is what my family has going on.
Yeah.
You've got your baby going off to a year-long program.
Katrina, right?
And I'm in prison during Katrina.
I got to Ohio 2 days before the hurricane hit.
Yeah.
For 3 weeks, I didn't know if they were alive or dead.
Right.
Same here.
All the phones were down. 17 years old. Or no, I had just turned 18. I had my 18th and 19th birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all of that in Teen Challenge. Finally heard that they were okay. Saw pictures. Fast forward, I get to Cape Girardeau, Missouri for the final phase, which is the final 10 months. And I'm fasting. I'm praying. I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning, thanking God for the wife and kids he has for me one day, doing just like I was told to do. But I never sought out any more input or advice on how to battle this stronghold, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I was on fire for God. So my counselors and staff, I didn't show any need for extra direction. I was
He's fixed.
basically walking in it until it happened, like a fake it till you make it sort of thing.
Yeah.
When I graduated the program, I came back home, got a girlfriend because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, still zero attraction to women, eventually broke up with her, explained to her why. And I decided to go back to school, and I moved to Pensacola and enrolled in Pensacola Christian College.
Right.
It was in my time there and growing up, I had maybe 5 gay friends my whole life at home. All of my friends were straight. And living in Pensacola, I started to get more accustomed and exposed to a gay community.
And he got to live off campus that was like an act of Congress that it wasn't supposed to happen.
This is a Christian college?
Pensacola
Yes.
Christian College, and it's like its own little world. I mean, it's super.
It's a beautiful campus.
It is amazing.
Academics next to none, but very, very strict. And after my first semester,
I'm just curious, what denomination is it associated with?
Baptist,
Okay.
So
the
you say
furthest extreme of conservative.
Okay.
you say you just started to get exposed to that or the community.
And that,
But were you looking
The
for
social
it? Because
part.
it's not really
So,
something you stumble into.
anger and resentment started to grow before I
So you
came to
rebelled
Pensacola.
by looking for it.
Yes. I was getting frustrated that God wasn't doing what he was supposed to do based on what I thought he was going to do.
Your thoughts had not changed.
Correct. And it wasn't until years and years later that it was presented to me and I realized I gave God a very specific door to work through and I gave him a time limit.
Sure. Man, we could sit here for days and talk about this. This is part of my story too, in the fact of, first off, I'm going to say a statement. Do you agree with this or not? Salvation and recovery are 2 different things. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yes. Well, there are certain circles that when you get saved, that's supposed to be like you're going to be delivered from these things, right?
No.
Okay.
No. That would have been nice.
But then there's also, in my story, I feel very strongly about this. It's taken me a long time to realize it. There were certain things that I just wasn't ready for. And there's certain things I had to go through that I hadn't gone through yet.
100%.
So I was praying, God, please, like you were, fasting. And God was loving on you, but at the same time, he was like, well, there's some things that you're going to have to go through. Do you agree with that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, you said you gave God two things, a narrow window, and what was the other one?
I gave him a specific door frame to work through and a time limit.
This is what you're going to do. And
Okay, the door frame is the goal.
For me
'Cause
to,
that's
right, for me to serve you and live this life, I need the attraction to women and a wife.
yeah.
And the attraction to men to go away.
Yeah.
I need you to take this thorn out of my side so that I can live for you.
Yeah.
And none
a normal
of that
life.
happened.
Yeah.
Normal as I had built in my brain. So my brain started going through different phases of thoughts and beliefs of, I'm too broken for God to fix, or he heard my prayers and he doesn't care, or maybe it really is okay and it was only a sin back when God needed the world to be populated. So for the next...
That's an interesting justification.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't feel that way anymore.
Yeah, no.
Right. So after that first semester at Pensacola Christian, I moved off campus and got an apartment. And that is where I decided to go out and meet this community. Went to my first gay club, and that is where I found my gay community. It sounds weird to call it my gay community. That is where my gay lifestyle really began, in the sense of outside of just social media, online things, and drugs.
Jumping into the deep end.
The actual life, right.
Yeah. Where for the first time in my life, I built gay friendships, and pretty soon all of my friends were gay. And
so were you a secret Christian at this point?
I was, the way I described it, when people would ask me that, my friends in Pensacola and in the club, I would never debate religion or spirituality with them. I would just say, I can't answer if it's wrong or not because I don't know yet. I just know that I know God and I love him. And that was as deep as I would really go with it, but it's really also as deep as I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't argue it because I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So I would just act like I wasn't going to entertain it, even though I really just didn't know what to say because I didn't know.
Right.
Through that community, through the nightlife, through the club scene, I sought answers and just anything to help me believe it was okay.
Yeah.
I needed, it didn't matter who accepted me anymore by this point. That didn't satisfy me. I need to know that it's not wrong. I need to know God either made me this way or it's okay to be this way. I quit praying for a wife. I quit praying for it to go away. I'm like, maybe he hasn't done this because I'm supposed to be this way and I need to accept it. So I started praying for a boyfriend.
I don't have to feel guilty about it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, if this is okay, then help me believe it's okay so I can, I allowed my brain and my mind to go through so many phases of just
trying to rationalize and make it okay.
And to make it okay. And that's
the self-will run riot.
Right. And I'm drinking constantly, using cocaine. And in 2011, I find...
That's interesting. Sorry. That's interesting, right? God, please make me okay with this this flag in my life. Meanwhile, I'm using cocaine, I'm drinking, I'm doing all this other stuff. But if you would just tell me this part's right,
everything else is going to be
the
fine.
rationale our sin tells us, though,
100%.
right? It's like, it's interesting. So, all right.
I was just on a little spin wheel.
Yeah, completely out of his will, but challenging. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
I like
2011 was meth.
2011 is when I first.
But the beauty of it, Christ is there in the shadows.
Yes.
But he is waiting for you.
I mean,
you're asking him to turn around. He's waiting for you to turn around.
But looking back, there were so many times I should have died.
Yeah.
Car accidents, horrible situations that I should not have made it out of.
He hit an 18-wheeler head on, and he was in a 2-door Honda, and nothing.
Total the 18-wheeler, total my Honda, but not a scratch on me.
Nothing.
And that was 2 years after I had started meth. And when I started meth, I found my
drug of choice.
Drug of choice.
And that's
through
pretty
and
popular
through.
in the
Yes,
in the
absolutely.
Yeah.
But even so, I knew I was an addict, have been for years now. So I would use and wouldn't stop. Whereas my friends we all worked at the club together. My roommate was a bartender. Other roommate did security. Me and my other roommate did shows and stuff. But when they would put their bags down and go to bed, I would have to leave and go to the next friends that was still awake because I wasn't going to bed. I wouldn't let myself come down. And that's what led to my car accident, November 3rd, 2013. I've been up for 21 days, and I blinked too long and fell asleep on the interstate. Crossed through the median and driver's side to driver's side with the 18-wheeler. Somehow not a scratch on me.
Yeah. Somehow.
And, and looking back,
this is also the time that for some reason we thought it'd be a really smart idea for us to live together in Pensacola. Everything's worked so well so far. We're going to be roommates.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I think I remember this part of the story.
Yes. So, I had moved. I had gone through Teen Challenge at that time, and
You were back actively in your own addiction?
Oh, very quickly. After I completed Teen Challenge.
Didn't you put her out? Like, you need to go somewhere?
Well,
wasn't that the story?
Oh, no. That's when I got, that was when I got done. That's when I was done. This is just, we lived together. I was in a toxic relationship, and
we took turns being clean.
Yeah.
We were never clean at the same time, really.
Ever.
And we wear the hats of blame for several times in our lives. Blame for the other one's mishap. Mm-hmm. I didn't give her a standing chance. I was already in full-blown addiction when she moved in with me, and she had no idea. Mm-hmm. And I did nothing to help her.
I didn't want
would have anxiety attacks just to go into a Walmart by herself.
Couldn't have helped each other.
Right.
I didn't want help.
But yeah, after that wreck, I packed all my stuff and actually moved to DC for what I thought was going to be a fresh start. Moved up there with, at the time, two of my best friends who had a job lined up for me and all of this. Get up there, realized one of those jobs is to be a middleman for them in getting meth so they can sell it because they peed off
They owed money.
And they needed a new person. So they taught me into moving up there.
Yikes.
And I did that. My
That was
time
your
in
job?
DC, one of them, yep. I worked security at a nightclub also, but that was the main reason they wanted me to move up there, which I did not know until I got there.
I didn't know until now.
Yes. Surprise.
I thought you sold cell phones.
No, that was at Target before I moved.
Okay.
I did work for Target briefly after that car accident. But due to me losing the car, I lost that job because I would work from Marius or Florida Target to Mobile in the cell phone kiosk. So when I lost that job, that was a perfect opportunity. I have no job. I have no car. Yes, let's move to a place where I don't need a car because there's the metro subway station. So I moved up there, and I only made it there about 7 or 8 months, and most of my time there was a blur.
Yeah, a big city with a hardcore drug addiction is bad.
And it was cold. He had never experienced that. It was miserable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a horrible decision. Should have died, especially with the meth and the sexual scene and how many people are up there. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Just horrible. My mom had bought me a plane ticket to come home to visit, and I told her, I was like, I can't come back up here. I need to just move home. So I did. I moved home.
Mississippi.
Yes. And that was in the end of 2000. That was in 2014. I don't remember when.
At some point you went to
that was
Waterfront and then drug court.
Another treatment program.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd ended up going to Waterfront mission in Mobile, Alabama.
But we're still just targeting the substances.
Yes, correct. And whereas my sister went to multiple 30 and 90-day treatment centers, a lot of them secular, I seem to only be sent to the faith-based ones.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's all he's ever been through.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first rehab was 16 months. My next was 9 months.
Yeah.
And then the Home of Grace was 3 months.
Yeah.
But in the Waterfront, it was not very structured. Not enough at all. I was getting high my whole last month, every visit, smoking crack again.
With me.
With my sister.
I would go pick him up for visits. And at this time, my dad was dying with cancer.
He was on chemo and radiation for stage 4 esophageal cancer. I didn't make it 2 weeks out of the program before I was back on meth in Mississippi.
I was still living in Florida.
And at this point, I was always either smoking or snorting meth. I had always had a phobia of needles. I fainted when I got my ear pierced. I fainted when I got my booster shot as a kid. Needles were not my thing, thank God. But when we lost my dad, something changed within me. I'm grateful that the three of us were around him when he passed, but that was the first time I'd ever watched someone die. And when the literal color of life left his body, something left me. It was after that I shot up for the first time, and I lost my soul to the drug of crystal meth. Nothing mattered anymore except for that needle. And the amounts that I was doing should have killed me. Shooting over a gram a day by myself constantly. Thankfully, and at this time I was working at the animal shelter, and I made the news for when I was arrested for embezzlement. Thank God I had drugs on me, because that qualified me for drug court.
Before we go any further, let's take a minute to address the man or the woman listening to today's episode and wishing for a better life. Or maybe addiction has completely overtaken a family member or a friend.
You are not alone. As you may know, the Jesus Loves Addicts podcast is produced by the Home of Grace, a Christ-centered addiction recovery program in South Mississippi with over 60 years of experience.
The Home of Grace has residential programs ranging from 30 days to 12 months. With 2 separate campuses for men and women, they are fully staffed with caring individuals who want nothing more than to guide you to a life of recovery.
Services include individual and group counseling, marriage and family counseling, classes, workshops, GED, and workforce training, all grounded in biblical principles.
And because of donations from the community, the cost of the program is incredibly affordable.
Thousands of alumni from across the country can tell you there is no other program in the world quite like the Home of Grace.
If you want to start a new path to recovery, don't wait. Speak with an admission specialist today. Visit homeofgrace.org or call 833-55-GRACE to talk with someone.
That's 833-55-GRACE. Call the Home of Grace today.
Me and my sister both, when we have structure,
we do great.
We'll be top of the class of rehab anywhere.
Yeah, same.
We do great in structure.
Same.
So I was self-proclaimed valedictorian in drug court.
He wore a valedictorian sash.
I ordered it off Amazon, and she helped me put it together.
And
They love that.
They did. Judge Harkey,
Judge Harkey,
and Christy Green. He had his little sash. But thank God for Christy and Angelica in Elias's life. I will tell you that.
Yes. That's where I that's where I found recovery, specifically
from substances.
Yes. Thanks to drug court, I was clean for 7 years.
Wow.
But, and I feel like my mental health and everything was okay. Not as bad as it always had been, because for the first time I'm excelling in areas. I'm getting jobs and I'm moving up, and I'm maintaining a job for no less than a year before I go to the next.
Because you're not doing drugs.
Yeah. Correct. Right. I've never known this to be possible for me.
Yeah.
Now, were you, during those 7 years, were you still active in the gay?
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
It was when he was in drug courts, when he wasn't supposed to leave the state, and that's when he was allowed to come find me in Pensacola.
Yes, so
that's when he dropped
dropped her off at the Home of Grace in 8 Mile, and the last thing I said to her was, I processed your death too many times. I can't do it anymore. Don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. And it was close to a year, I feel like, before I saw her. Or really,
it was about 7 months
before I had a conversation that I was intentional with.
Like phone calls, he would say, I'm answering the phone because you've got to have someone to talk to, but you're not a priority for me.
Yes. She never left the program this time. You know her story.
Yeah.
But in my life during all this time, I started at a small restaurant in Pascagoula on drug court.
Washing dishes,
moved to server, stayed there for a year, moved to help open Saltgrass Steakhouse in Biloxi, and it was a performance-based ranking system on the servers, and I started at rookie, and I made it to the #1 top server and head trainer, was there for a year and a half or so, went there, moved up again to fine dining at the White Pillars, and was there for 5 years. And while there, I moved up again to food and beverage management at Scarlet Pearl Casino.
This is all the 7 years.
Yes.
F&B manager at the casino?
Yeah.
F&B supervisor.
Okay.
But yes, over 5 different venues.
That's pretty.
And I was living the life that God had taken aback. Once I'd found, all this, I was still bothered on not knowing.
But he was a distant blip on the radar screen now, yeah.
So
he got backburnered.
I'd like to go back. You were talking a few minutes ago. You were talking about your mental health during this. And you never really finished the sentence, but I'm assuming you were saying it wasn't great, but compared to what was before that. Was
And
like,
I think I also left off as soon as drug court ended. As soon as my record was expunged in 2021, I believe, marijuana was right back. I immediately picked that back up.
Drinking?
Socially.
Okay.
I was never a big drinker again, but I smoked a lot of marijuana.
Okay.
And I occupied my time with work.
So no club scene?
No, because I was back in Mississippi and
There really isn't.
there
any.
wasn't much, and I didn't.
So no New Orleans, I guess.
No, those were earlier years.
Okay.
Let me think.
Don't worry too much about the timeline. Just
Yeah.
I know that plot was very much
the plot helped with that mental health.
Got it.
Yeah.
In the sense of me not realize, or it kept me from thinking about it.
Yes.
Yes.
I completely
Let me put it like
understand.
that.
Yeah.
It kept me from examining myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have to see the man in the mirror. At some point, I started making small compromises and passed the marijuana with kratom. Throughout my entire recovery, I always played the tape all the way through. I remembered those desperate days of being up for days and days and days, having nothing in the house but bread, maybe some water. My dogs were taken care of. My rabbits were fed and stuff, but I didn't take care of myself. And I remember those days just wishing I could fall asleep and wake up feeling normal and that I wasn't in that mess.
Yeah.
I always played the tape all the way through to remember those days. And that kept me from going too far.
Yeah.
Or I thought it did.
Well, for the moment.
Correct. September of 23, I was at my cousin's wedding, and someone close to me was asking, do you know where to get any Coke? I'm like, well, yeah, I can call who was my best friend at the time. I can call him. So I did, and he happened to be 2 miles away in downtown Ocean Springs. So I went and got Coke, came back, we did it. Went our separate ways. Well, a little bit's never enough for me.
Yeah.
So I call him back. I'm like, hey, they want more.
Well, of course.
And I go get it for me, and I go home. That continued several times until this friend, who we no longer are in association with each other, he was selling cocaine, but then he started selling meth. So just so happened, I know someone that's looking for that. So I bought some for someone, being myself. And that's all it took.
Yeah.
I then reached out to the person I was buying marijuana from, and I'm like, hey, do you by chance know how to get this? And he calls me and he's like, do you know people that would buy it? I'm like, yeah, sure do. So my marijuana dealer started dealing meth, and at very affordable prices. So it didn't take long before that was all I did again.
Now, is your primary community the gay community now still? So it is
Still?
No.
At this point
at that
of your
time.
story.
No, because that's still in your story where you are, yeah.
Somewhat.
Okay.
I would, every few months, I would go to Pensacola for a weekend.
So they were still there.
Yes.
There was not a local.
No, I didn't. There is,
Yes, of
local
course,
community,
yeah,
but I was never friends with any of them.
Right, okay.
And I didn't want to open those doors to be friends. I had my friends over there. So Pensacola was my escape to be me.
Yeah. Okay.
Quote unquote.
That's interesting.
And I'm thankful that from September, when I relapsed, I never went back to the needle. I did remember
what that cost
me and what it did to me.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that I had the mindset or self-control not to go back to the needle. And that's definitely, I've learned that was definitely a God thing, because I mean, things are not what they used to be as regards to substances anymore. 6 years or so after I dropped off Catherine at the Home of Grace, October 3rd of last year, I was arrested leaving work. They said I was being pulled over for window tint, and they smelled marijuana. I had my medical green card. I did quickly get that once those became a thing. And
because they gave you access to the marijuana.
Right.
Yes.
You can shop for it in the stores.
Yeah.
It's legal.
And he smelled the marijuana, so he searched my car, found an ounce of meth, half a pound of marijuana, scale, said concealed weapons. It was just brass knuckles in the door. But I was arrested, and it was on a Friday when I was supposed to be house sitting and dog sitting for my sister, who just left to go to Puerto Rico for a vacation. So it
was like the month before is when I actually did my episode, and I talked about him. And then actually we had a birthday dinner for my sister's husband. It was David's 40th. They have the same birthday, Lauren and her husband, but they're a year apart. So this was his big 40th. And Elias came, and looking at the photos now, I'm going, how did we miss it? I mean, he looked terrible. But he said something. He had to leave, and he's got to go help a friend in Mobile who broke down. He's got to go help them, save them. And he left the restaurant, and my sister Lauren was like, that's so weird. That story, if he wasn't doing so well, I would think he was back on drugs, because that story sounds just like one of those crap stories he'd make up. And I'm like, it really did. And Mom was like, no, surely not. Yeah. So my husband and I had just gotten to Puerto Rico, and we had sat down to eat. And I know it was the Lord. I was like, I don't feel right. I want to check on Elias. And Sean was like, okay. And so I pull up Life 360, and like 10 minutes prior, he had paused his location. And I said, oh, no. And I'm dialing, and I text. I said, why is your location off? I just wanted to check on my dogs. And he said, can I call you? And I just, he started crying. He said, I've been arrested. And
you were out of jail already?
No. He
I
wasn't
was at the
even
police station.
processed.
I wasn't even booked in yet.
I knew immediately that something was off. And the detective, because of Elias, that actually, I really believe that he knew that all of the hell was done. He knew that, even if he didn't know what was coming. And he was very apologetic and respectful to the detective interviewing him. And he told him, he's like, whatever I need to do, I just need help. I did so well for so long.
Yeah.
I'm miserable. Yeah. And how he responded and treated that man, actually that man went to bat for him, because they were pretty hefty charges. And so I had to get crazy. When we were leaving, my husband's a little paranoid, and he never leaves. We don't have keys outside, anything like that. When we were leaving that morning, he said, I'm going to leave a key outside just in case. Like, Elias was headed to work, and I'm like, for what? And he said, I don't know, just to be safe, I'm going to just leave a key in case someone else needs to get in, something happens. And I'm like, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Because we had to get Elias's friend to come over there and help take care of my dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so I had to call my mom.
So you're having some feelings about this.
Now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, just it was being arrested was in part a relief, but just drowning in fear of what's to come. I needed help. I needed an escape. And based off our histories, I knew those don't come until we tried every avenue and we're backed into a corner, and that help isn't usually a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I knew
it doesn't feel
and
good.
I had never had charges like this on
And
me
drug
before.
court was not going to be an option. He'd already done it.
And I mean, I knew that I was facing years for the amount of drugs I had on me. When I got to jail, I didn't call my mom once. I was ashamed. I was terrified. I knew how hurt she would be. I couldn't talk to her. I called Catherine constantly. I called my aunt. 6.5 years after I dropped her off, she dropped me off to the Home of Grace.
I said, it's your turn.
I was informed while I was in jail. I was informed that when I bonded out, they were getting me a storage unit. I was packing up my whole house. I had 7 dogs. My dogs were my life. I had to get rid of them. That was really hard for me.
I bet.
I knew I would never, at that time, I knew I would never have kids. Those are my children. And they don't understand what's going on. But I had to leave them all. And
we were able to foster
one of them.
Some of them, yeah.
I don't mean to undermine as a pet lover, but you just said something, and you said it in a way that caught my attention. You said, I knew, and then you said, well, at that time I knew that I would never have kids. I'm curious, is that still a belief you hold to, or have you?
I don't know.
Is it okay? So it's shifting.
Yes.
There's a possibility in your mind now that you could be a father.
If God wills it, yes.
I mean,
yes.
not that there's any, there's that's,
but I've never.
I just thought that was interesting because it sounded like you had given it some thought. So yeah, okay.
A close friend told me recently that the Lord showed him an image of me with a family and children. Growing up, I wanted kids in the sense to carry our family name on, but also knew that I have eight nieces and nephews.
Don't ask me to count.
Several nieces and nephews.
Other male Kihyets out there?
No.
No, not of our line.
No. Well, yes, our cousin, a cousin, Jonathan.
Well, that's a bit of a rabbit trail because I want to know how you got here, right? Because you're in this contemplative stage, right? You're very new to your new recovery. So this, you get dropped off to Home of Grace, this last treatment that you attend.
So I'll back up. While I was in jail, Catherine said, okay, you're going to treatment. We can send you here to the Home of Grace, or I forget what the other option was, a little further away, in northern Mississippi. And I told her, then I was like, I don't know how I feel about going to faith-based because I don't know how I feel about God right now and my sexuality. But something told me I wanted to do the Home of Grace.
Yeah.
I remember when the conversation changed from, he was like, are you sure that I'm going to get to go there? Because I've never gone, are you sure I'm going to get to go? I said, yeah, it looks like you are.
I do remember being excited.
Yeah.
I had never seen the campus or anything. I really didn't know much about it outside of that there's a men's program.
Sure.
But I knew what it did for her.
Before you got here, did you think that coming here also meant in some way, shape, or form, you were going to have to deal with your sexuality.
Yes.
So that went hand in hand with you.
Yes.
Well, he had
I was just going to ask, when you came to this one, what did you identify as your problem?
You knew what you were walking into on a personal level.
I knew what I was walking into if I opened that door.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yes.
we had that talk.
Yeah, because I told her, I said, I can go into this program in one of two ways. I can go in with broken family, depression, anger, drug addiction, and get through these 90 days. Or I can, quote unquote, give God another chance and be what ultimately worked. Two words that kept going through my mind was always riddled in Catherine's story and testimony of she got brutally honest with herself and with God. So I knew I could come in here with one story, or I could come in here and be brutally honest and transparent about why I am where I am and why I feel the way I feel.
Yeah.
And I didn't know which of those doors I was going to take until I sat in with my very first counseling session with my counselor, Austin.
Yeah.
It was in that moment that I made that decision.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I want to do something a little different in some ways for the sake of time, because I don't want to miss. This is the piece to your story. That's a little different.
So long to get here.
So what I'm going to ask you is, I want to ask you where you are now with your beliefs and concepts of the homosexual lifestyle, and then give us kind of, how did you get here? Right? Because this is the transformation that is.
So earlier I mentioned that I gave God a very specific doorway to work through and a time limit.
Yeah.
That was a light bulb that went off for me in that first counseling session with Austin when I laid it all out, and together we realized, put it together, that I expected a very specific outcome and change to take place that may or may not have even been biblical or in God's will for my life.
Yeah.
And when that was presented to me, as well as some other scriptural support about the Apostle Paul and the gift of singleness, it's like a weight was lifted and like an aha, like God's not limited to any doorway or even a framework. It's an open foundation to do whatever he wants to do.
Okay.
Not what we tell him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so where I am today, meeting Hal Selby in this program, in that first counseling session, Austin briefly told me about him and his story and his ministry. And I was fascinated. That was the first time I had heard of anyone with a similar story of being in that lifestyle and being brought through it. So I was intrigued, I was encouraged. And then to find out I was going to get to meet him blew my mind. And then on top of that, I was going to get to work with him every single week during my time in the program. He helped me find and explain it to me in a way that I needed explained to me back when I met with the priest. Where did it come from? How? Explain to me the how and the where and the why.
Yeah.
And he broke it down so simply, but also so non-simple. And it all, in a nutshell, started back in Genesis with the fall. Sin and its complexity, like a cancer in a human today, you see the vast effect it has on them in their lifetime, whether it be 5, 10, however many years they battle from that cancer. You see the debilitating effects it has on the body. Imagine a cancer that started that many thousands of years ago and is still going today.
Yes.
Cancer on society.
Yes. And that's sin. And I was born into sin due to environmental factors. Who knows? Sin manifested itself in my life through sexual sin and same-sex attraction. A lot of people that happens to face sexual trauma at an early age. That's not part of my story.
Yeah.
I had an amazing childhood, great family. That was never a part of my personal story, yet it still happened to me.
Knowing that is it is very often a door for many. I will say that conversations have taken place between my sisters and I that were like, did we miss something else? Did you know? And
assuming that,
like, hoping, please God, tell me we didn't. Please, tell me in my own selfishness when I was so broken that I wasn't missing something like that.
Yeah.
And so he had confirmed. He's like, no. He was like, not at all. And I was like, okay. At least I don't have that.
Right. But learning, basically getting a full walkthrough and teaching and enlightening of the origin of same-sex attraction for me. And today I can look back and see, my addiction, I believe God allowed me my addiction and those 7 years in recovery and how you battle addiction with, people, places, and things, and, retrain your thought process and all of these things. That's a very small caliber example of how you battle same-sex attraction. But you can do recovery in your own strength, abstinence and stuff. A lot of people do it that don't turn to the Lord or even know him. You can't do that without Jesus and God and same-sex attraction in that battle. At least I don't believe you can.
Yeah.
I don't believe you can.
Renewing your mind through daily reading of the Word, it requires such a deep connection and true love for the Lord, I believe, if you truly want victory in that lifestyle and deliverance. And for the longest, I thought I would never say I was delivered from it until recently, because I thought deliverance and freedom meant no same-sex attraction and the attraction to women to come. But I've learned, through that is my thorn in my side. Paul prayed for his to go away. I prayed for mine to go away for the longest. But the very thing that the devil meant to use to have me turn and blame and hate God has been turned around and is now the very propeller pushing me towards him that much more.
Wow.
My deliverance is not dependent on absence of temptation. Israel was delivered, but they still have rebellion and trial after trial after trial. I'm delivered from the power of it. The same-sex attraction and the thoughts are all part of the sanctification process that I have to put the word of God to practice and taking my thoughts captive to the submission of Jesus and leaving it at the cross time and time again. That is where I am today. Since the program, I have found so many other people that have gone through this lifestyle, come out of this lifestyle. And one of my very good friends that I partied with in Florida, that was a hairdresser, is now an evangelist and just got married to a woman 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
very grateful and thankful that I'm able just to play a small part in whatever caliber in what I know is a humongous, mighty move in the LGBT community that God's making right now. More and more people are being convicted and brought out of that lifestyle and are seeking Jesus. And I get to be one of those voices. It's amazing.
Can I ask you a question, Elias? And I appreciate this so much. So if I were to interpret what you just said, you are at a stage in your walk where we probably could not say you have been delivered from the attraction necessarily, the temptations of, but you are now motivated by your love for Christ to deny the pleasures of the flesh.
100%.
Which is a key to the Christian walk for all of us. It's about denying the pleasure. And why do we deny the pleasures of the flesh? Because again, they are ultimately harmful to us.
Yes.
Right? So, okay, so you're in that place in your walk. I have great respect for that. That's
and I
Well, I said it to Hal too. It's I really admire my identity was never wrapped up in smoking crack. I mean, it was in the fact of I had shame because the term crackhead was so degrading, but it wasn't a lifestyle and a social, like, coming out of that lifestyle is also coming out of a social circle. And to some people, it would seem as, well, what you're saying is that you don't accept me now. And it's, I really admire that.
It was part of my identity.
That's what's so insidious about that whole scene. Yeah.
One of the main people I follow, Christopher Yuan, he is an evangelist, a teacher, a preacher, and his testimony is phenomenal. I purchased and read one of his books that honestly should be turned into a class called Holy Sexuality and the Gospel. And he said, he was like, which I've adopted his quote, "My identity is not in my sexuality. My identity is the child of God." And up until truly meeting Jesus in salvation at the Home of Grace, my sexuality was my identity. And that was just a deception that the world affirms. And
I told him, he's made some very bold videos and posts, and told him I don't envy the platform. I don't envy it at all. I am in awe, and he doesn't hesitate, but I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, let me ask you about that actually. What Catherine's building, because I too have seen your posts, and you have sort of unashamedly stepped into proclaiming this new walk for you, right? We talk about accountability being so important to recovery, the recovery process. Is that part of that for you? Are you throwing yourself out there to kind of ensure accountability? Like, okay, now.
That's a second thought.
Okay.
That's a good thought.
The number one reason is because there's people out there
who need to hear
that feel broken, that
they don't feel normal,
feel like it's okay, and it's getting worse and worse because now there's ministers in churches that tell you it's okay, and they'll marry you, and it's okay to be gay, and they twist the scriptures, and they need to hear the truth.
Yeah.
A lot of them won't be ready to hear it, but the ones that are will hear it, and they're the ones I'm doing it for.
Yeah. Ooh, bold proclamation, my friend. Anything that I don't want to nip this shy of you having said everything you feel like you need to say. Anything you would tell somebody out there right now wrestling with this?
One person comes to mind that I was in the program with. don't worry about too much at once. Just come to Jesus. Just come.
Amen.
That's all you need to do. He'll take care of the rest in his timing. Just come.
Yeah.
And be brutally honest with yourself and him, and enjoy the ride he's going to take you on.
That's good. I really like that. All right. This is always very powerful for me. So for anybody listening, guys, I think this is, in my own family, we have 2 people caught up in this lifestyle. We pray diligently for them, and maybe not with their approval of that, but that's okay. But I love what Elias just ended with, and I think I'm going to kind of highlight that as we close today. In some weird analogy. I think in analogies, and I'll apologize for that right now. But if it's a winter night and you have friends over and there's a fire going in the middle of the yard, if you're far enough away from that fire, you're probably heavily clothed. As you get closer to that fire, you begin to shed the coat. And then as you get closer, you might even need to be able to take off the sweater. And if you get close enough, you can almost be dressed like it's summer, because the heat of the fire. And so I love what Elias just said, guys. If you're struggling in this lifestyle of addiction, be that homosexuality, be that having affairs on your wife, be that whatever it may be, drugs, alcohol, gambling, anything, the things that we try to put in that God place, get closer to Jesus, get closer to that fire, and what you'll find is that baggage can come off, because it is baggage and it's weighing you down. Guys, we love you. More importantly, Jesus loves you, and we'll see you next time on Jesus Loves Addicts.